y'all, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Jennifer with True to You Yoga, and today's flow is going to be about the lower body, and it's also going to be easier on your wrists because there are no weight-bearing movements on your wrists. So let's start at the top of our mat in mountain pose. Your feet are parallel. They can be either number 11s or your big toes can be touching. Root down to the floor with your big toe, your little toe, and your heel. A slight bend in your knees. Your tailbones kind of drop towards the floor. Hips are forward, engaged through their pelvic floor, all the way up through your abs, keeping a nice long spine. Lots of energy. The crown of your head is reaching up towards the floor and your chin is perpendicular to or parallel to the floor. Take your shoulders, roll them up, around, and then back. And then that'll help drop your shoulder blades into place and your arms spin so then your palms are facing forward. Deep breath in and out. Feel all the energy run around in your body right now as all of your muscles are engaged. Thank yourself for coming to your practice today, for taking this time. Be ready to get some work in on your leg muscles. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward to your forward fold. I'm gonna take a break right down here for a minute. Let yourself hang. The crown of your head is towards the floor as much as you possibly can. Your hands can be reaching towards the floor. They can be on your legs somewhere, or if you have blocks, you can put the blocks right underneath of your hands, wherever is comfortable for you. And your knees can be bent as much as you would like. It's going to give you a little bit of a different stretch as you bend and straighten them. If you want to play with that a little bit, you can. Inhale, flat back. So your hands are pushing into your blocks, the floor, or your shins, and you are lengthening your back. Lengthen that spine like you're trying to push your lower body away. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, arms back up overhead. If you can, while you're reaching up, go up onto your tiptoes. It's okay if you fall. And exhale, arms back down to the sides. We're gonna do that again, except we're gonna speed it up a little bit, not hang out in our forward fold so much. Inhale, and if you can, stand up on those tippy toes. Exhale, drop down to your heels, forward into your, drop down to your forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hand toward the floor. And then inhale, arms back up overhead, lifting onto your toes if you can. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Exhale, lower those heels, hands to your sides. Take your feet, and they can either be parallel again, or those toes can be touching. We're gonna sink our bottom back like we're gonna sit down into a chair. Lift up out of your pelvis, out of your hips. If you need to, you can kind of like put your hands on your hips and push them down and lift your chest up to feel that lengthen. Your back is going to stay long and proud. Your neck is in line with your spine and you're not tilting your head every which way. And then your hands can go to prayer. They could be on your thighs. They can be on your hips, wherever is comfortable for you. And keep those abs engaged. Let's take 2 breaths here. Sink down just a little bit more if you can. Your next inhale, stand up, sweeping your arms up overhead, coming into extended mountain on your toes again if you can. Exhale, hands down to your sides. Take your left foot, we're gonna step it back, and your right foot, you can wiggle out to the edge of your mat more. I like a wide stance in my Warrior One instead of a narrow, just because it gives me a little bit more room for my hips. But you can play with that wherever is comfortable for you. Bend your front knee, so your right knee, so it's pretty much over your ankle, and it's okay if it's a little off. It's not gonna kill you. Hips are square to the front of your mat. I suggest placing your hands on your hips, and then you can feel and twist your hips until they're square. That right hip is pulling back, your left hip is pulling forward, your left foot is at an angle, and your right foot is straight towards the front of your mat, so it's parallel with the mat, the long edge. Abs are engaged, your tailbones drop down, long spine. You can inhale and sweep your arms up overhead. Let's exhale our arms to cactus arms, giving a little bit of an arch in our upper back. Inhale, arms back up overhead, and exhale them down to your sides. Take your front leg, your right leg, start to straighten your leg, keeping a slight bend in your knee. Put those hands back on your hips so then you can feel that they are squared off as much as you can towards the front of the room. Abs are engaged, your back is nice and long and proud, and you start to tip forward, keeping your spine long. If you have blocks, here's a great place to use them to keep everything in line and your back from collapsing. Think about those hips again. Think about pulling your inner thighs together. It's an energetic pull. Your next inhale. Exhale, bring your left foot forward, and we're going to do a wide chair this time. So your feet are about almost the width of your mat if you were in a wider warrior one like I was, sinking your bottom towards the floor, lifting up out of your pelvic bowl and keeping that spine long. And again, hands where are comfortable, and dip that chin just a little bit. Engage those abs. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead into your extended mountain on your toes. Hold. Exhale, hands down to your side. We're going to repeat that on the other side. So your right leg will step back. Your back foot is at an angle. Again, if you want, feel free to have your legs as wide as you want. Bend your left knee. Sink down into it to where it's comfortable for you. Your back leg is straight, lots of energy. Your back inner thigh is rotating in, and your outer thigh is rotating out. And same with the left or your right, left leg. Your inner thigh is rotating in, and your outer thigh is rotating out. Think of energetically bringing those thighs together. Check your hip placement. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, arms up. Keep those abs engaged. Exhale, your arms down by your sides, hands on your hips. Slowly begin to straighten your left leg, keeping a slight bend in it. Lift up again out of your pelvic bowl. Straight back, nice and flat as we start to tip forward. We're tipping from our hips and not just bending in our back. You've got your blocks. You can go ahead and grab those and place them underneath of you to help support your upper body and keep your back flat. You can reach back. You can place a hand on your hip to check it, and you can even place it on your lower back bum area right there to make sure that it's flat and you're not rounding your back. Energetically think about bringing those thighs together again. One more breath. On your exhale, we're going to step that right foot forward into that wide chair pose again. Sink your bottom down towards the floor. If you have your blocks and you want to keep your hands on your blocks, feel free. And that's going to help support some of your upper body weight. Otherwise, you can lift up and bring your hands to prayer pose, hips. You can bring them up over your head if you want. Engage those abs so they're lifted up off of your thighs. Next exhale, start to stand up onto your tippy toes. High, 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 high. And then drop your heels down to the ground. If you want, you can give a little shaky shake before we start with our next section. Your feet can come back to just a regular parallel mountain stance. Keep them parallel and not your big toes together. Inhale, raising your arms up over your head, up onto your tiptoes. Exhale, folding forward to that forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to the ground. Drop your bottom. We're going to go back into that chair pose. Place your hips wherever you need to. If you need to stand up more in this chair pose and your chair is up here, that is perfectly all right. You put that chair where you feel is comfortable for you today. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead into your extended mountain on your tiptoes. Exhale, hands down to your side. Take your left foot. We're going to step it back. Bring your right foot so it is in the middle of your mat. So parallel to the long edge. Your back foot, kind of wiggle it back some, is going to be parallel to the back edge, the short edge of your mat. Your right heel intersects the left foot. Bend your right knee. We're going to go into warrior two. Think about your left thigh spinning in, outer thigh spinning out, keeping that bend in your right knee. Engage your abs and lift up out of your pelvic bowl. Your hips, pretty much at an angle, don't feel that they need to be flat out to the side because that is torquing some bones and it can like shear at them and cause issues later on. So keep them at that little angle for what's comfortable for you. Bring your arms out to your sides. Stretch those fingertips away from each other. Drop your shoulder blades down your back. And gaze can be over your right fingertips. Inhale here. Exhale, drop your left hand. It can go behind your low back or it can glide down your left leg and your right arm up overhead. Reach, 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 reach through that. Reverse warrior. And then straighten your right leg. Keep reaching back though. Keep a slight bend in that right leg though. And then inhale up. And we're going to go into triangles. So your legs are straight. A slight bend in that right knee so we're not hyperextending it. Lift up again and then start to reach forward. Reach those right fingers towards the wall in front of you. Like I'm over there pulling, 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 pulling. And then drop them down towards the floor. You can have your block right beside your foot on either side. And then your left arm will reach up towards the sky. Gaze wherever is comfortable for you. Working to keep your head in line with your spine as much as possible. Abs are engaged. Your hips are kind of pushed forward. Your chest is pushed forward so then you're not all rounded over. We want it flat, like we're up against a wall. Bend that right knee. Bring your left arm up by your ear. So we are in side angle. Keep spinning that back thigh. Your knee is kind of in between like your second and third toes. Bring your hand down, your left hand down to the floor, up onto your left toes, and then step your left foot forward, and you get to sink your bottom down for another chair pose. It can be as high or as low as you want it to be. Hands placed where it's comfortable for you. Spin those inner thighs, squeeze them together. Toes are all pointing forward. Lift up out of your pelvic bowl, keeping those abs engaged. Spine long. Inhale, sweeping arms up overhead onto your tiptoes. Engage those abs, your booty muscles, your quads. Exhale, arms down to the side. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So take your right foot back. Your left foot, you're gonna wiggle over to the center of the mat. Line it up. Your right foot, you can kind of wiggle it back to where it's comfortable. And it's going to be perpendicular to your left foot. Sink down. Your knee, kind of push it out some if you need to, so it's not collapsing in. That back thigh, think about that internal rotation. It's okay if your hips aren't straight to the floor or to the side of the mat. Arms out to your sides. Gaze at your left fingers. Abs engaged. Lots of engagement throughout your body. Don't be loosey-goosey here. If I come by, I shouldn't be able to push your arms down. I don't want to walk by and your arms just flop. Keep them nice and strong. Next, exhale, start to tip back and bring your right hand to the back of your right leg or along your lower back, whichever works for you. Left arm reaches up overhead. Keep your left leg bent. Now let's straighten that left leg to where it just has a tiny, tiny bend in it. Inhale, bring your arms back so they are reaching out beside you, to your sides, towards the wall. And then take those left fingers, like I'm pulling you forward, pull. And if I can't pull anymore, that's when you drop that left hand down towards the floor. You can put it on your block. Your right arm goes up towards the ceiling. Push your hips forward and your chest forward so you're not collapsing. And your spine, you want to try to keep long and not round it up in any way. Work to keep your head in line with the spine. Pretend like you're up against a wall. Abs engaged, pelvic floor engaged, quads engaged, everything engaged. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hug those muscles in towards your bones. Slowly start to bend your left leg. Bend that left knee. Bring your right arm up by your ear into an extended side angle. Keep that same engagement in your arms, the same engagement in your legs, so then your inner thighs are spinning in. Hug those muscles into your bones. Abs engaged, chest is rolled open. Exhale and bring your right arm down so your hands are framing your left foot. Pop the heel of your right foot off the mat and then step forward. Guess what? You have one more chair pose. So drop that bottom as low as you want it to go today for your final chair. And your hands placement can be on those blocks, hips, thighs, whatever works for you. If you want to go just a little step farther with those tiptoes, go ahead and raise your heels up off the floor while you're in your chair pose. You can pop up and down out of this position, and if you fall over, don't worry about it. Heels down if they're up. Inhale, arms up overhead, coming up onto those toes one last time. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Give a little shaky shake. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward into that forward fold. You can ragdoll at this time and grab opposite hand, opposite elbow. Sway back and forth just a little bit. Release some of that tension in your legs. You worked the hell out of those muscles today. You got your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, and your calves. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, hand towards the floor, and then you can just step back into table, and then swing your legs around for your much needed Shavasana. Gently roll back, legs long. Flop them open a little if you want. Tailbones pointed more towards the mat, the long edge of the mat instead of down or up. Keep it long. Shoulder blades glide down. Hands flop open. Couple deep breaths in and out your mouth. Well, in your nose, out your mouth. Slowly bring your breathing back to normal. Sink into your mat. Forget about the burning that's going on in your legs right now. Relax your face. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Give a big good morning stretch. Roll over onto your side. Thank yourself for showing up for this class. You came, you conquered, you kicked its ass. No matter how deep you were into poses, you pushed yourself to where you needed to be today. You did your practice for your body. And you freaking conquered it. Next exhale, slowly start to push yourself up to your easy seat. Deep, big inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Thank you all so much for joining me today for this ass kicking class. I really appreciate it. I would love it if you could drop me some likes and comments, subscribe to the channel just to help all the algorithms in YouTube. If you have any questions, please let me know. And if there's something in particular looking for in a flow, reach out to me so then I can make some customized just for what y'all are looking for. May you always stay true in your intentions, true to your heart's desire, and speak loving truth to those around you. Love ya.